The health emergency disaster due to the spread of the novel Wuhan coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is a type of influenza, and it continues to bring challenges and new forms of communicating, ways of doing business or not, and general altered living conditions, as a stay-at-home order means that everyone's life has changed this spring. DCTV Daily News and partners continue to work diligently to bring you the latest information and how this impacts you, the community. Wash your hands, stay well and strong. I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. That's the special district association responsible for bringing the area free-to-access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there's a news story or event information that you would like to share, you can call us. It's 970-677-4119. And if you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Wednesday program for April 22nd, 2020. Happy Earth Day. And now, DCTV Daily News. From the Journal with a file photo, Colorado Governor Jared Polis announced on Monday that all K-12 schools throughout the state should remain closed through the end of the year. But while that decision is now out of local districts' control, school administrators still face a perplexing question: what should graduation look like during the present coronavirus pandemic? In Montezuma County, Dolores students will take part in a drive-in graduation, while the Mancos administration and school board are still floating several ideas. The Montezuma-Cortez School Board is set to discuss the item at its April 21st meeting yesterday. I believe graduation is a rite of passage, said Mancos Board Secretary Bo Hawkins at a special meeting held through Facebook on April 16th. Quote, "I know that it's special. I know it was special to me. I think it's going to be special to them. I think we ought to do whatever we can to make sure it happens for them when it can." The Dolores School District will have a drive-in graduation at the high school football field for graduates and their families. The ceremony will take place at its scheduled time of 6 p.m. on May 14th. All 29 graduates will be spread across the entire Dolores High School football field, while their immediate family members will be able to attend in cars parked around the field, according to Superintendent Liz Richards. For everyone else, the event will be filmed and available for viewing through a live stream. Richards said the Montezuma County Public Health Department and Sheriff's Office have reviewed and approved their plans. As long as social distancing is maintained, no gatherings take place, and families stay in their vehicles. Only a few school staff members will be attending in order to conduct the ceremony. The Mancos School District is still settling on final graduation plans, according to Secondary Principal John Marchino. Right now, administrators are looking into alternate dates for the ceremony, but they are waiting for more direction from the state and local health department, he said. At a special virtual meeting on April 16th, the Mancos School Board and staff debated some different options for the commencement ceremony. Marchino told the board that students didn't want a virtual graduation ceremony. Quote, "They want to do something live. They want to walk across the stage, and they don't mind moving it back," Marchino said. He presented a few different ideas, including figuring out a way to practice social distancing while conducting the ceremony, setting up a series of possible dates for the ceremony to happen, or holding graduation alongside Mancos Days at the end of July. They could have a ceremony through a vehicle parade, but students wanted an in-person live event, staff said. Board members overall like the idea of holding a few dates open for graduation and postponing the ceremony depending on the state of the coronavirus situation and the governor's orders. The problem with holding the ceremony on the football field under the current regulations, even in a socially distanced way, was that it would still constitute a large gathering, board members said. Quote, "It's important that they get this graduation and we have some kind of a good ceremony for them," said board member Blake Mitchell, "but I think at least for the next 2 weeks, we're still in a holding pattern." Mancos Secondary Dean Heath Mancos Secondary School Dean Heath Showalter said that he has talked with students and felt that they would be amenable to postponing graduation as long as they had their opportunity to shine. We can get creative here, he said. The nice thing is we're not dealing with 100 graduates, 200 graduates, we're dealing with 30 plus graduates. The Montezuma Cortez School Board is set to discuss the graduation meeting last night at its regular meeting on Tuesday night. The meeting was held through Zoom, and instructions for watching were available on the RE1 website. And today, the Dove Creek Schools in Dolores County School District RE2J will be having a conference call meeting with the senior class members in attendance as well to best determine the options for a graduation and recognition. There are volunteers coordinated by the Facebook page Dove Creek Strong that are purchasing 3-by-6 foot banners of the senior photos for all those graduating this year in the area. That they are the ones that are planned to be mounted on businesses, on building poles, and all around town. So hopefully that project will get together and we'll be able to celebrate them as a town through at least their pictures up in town. And thank you to all that are coordinating a recognition and unique graduation class celebration. We look forward to hearing what you guys come up with. And now let's take a look at the local weather. Felt a little like winter yesterday, and by the end of the weekend, we may be feeling more like summer. Today, sunny with a high near 62 degrees with south winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour shifting north-northwest. Tonight, we're seeing mostly clear skies again with a low around 37 with northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, lessening overnight but still a bit blustery. For Thursday, mostly sunny and a high near 63 degrees with east winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour, shifting back to the northwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. On Thursday, there could be gusts to 25 miles an hour during the day. For Thursday night, mostly clear and a low around 34 degrees with north-northwest winds remaining in place at 5 to 15 miles an hour, probably making it feel colder. For Friday, we're looking for a sunny day with a high near 60 degrees, and those north-northwest winds remain in place, keeping again it feeling colder than it should be at 5 to 10 miles an hour and gusts to 20 miles an hour for Friday. For Friday night, mostly clear and a low around 35. Saturday, we're looking for sunny and a high near 66 degrees, with Saturday night partly cloudy and a low around 40 degrees. For Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 73 degrees. Sunday night, partly cloudy and a low around 45. Looking to be more like summer than recent spring. For Monday, with a sunny day and a high near 77 degrees for Monday. And Monday night, mostly clear and a low around 47, and even warmer on Tuesday perhaps. And now, back to our news. In the Reporter Herald, an article on the topic of Colorado farms that are facing new worries as coronavirus threatens food supply. On Eastern Plains and Western Slope, falling prices, worker shortages, and closed plants spark concerns. This story is written by John Murray, and there's also concerns in the Palisades up near Grand Junction as far as damages to the peach crop. As the coronavirus pandemic gripped much of Colorado, it was largely business as usual on the Anchor 3 farm on Wednesday afternoon. Just days ahead of the start of spring planting, a tractor pulled disc and packer prepared the soil by thrashing through the remnants of last year's corn crop. But this year's prospects are filled with uncertainty. The farms and ranches that produce our food, arguably the most essential of businesses, may be exempt from the state's shutdown orders, but they haven't been immune to the virus's growing economic effects. Farmers face new hardships that threaten to stanch the flow of food to consumers. Anxiety punctuates nearly every conversation. Don and Peggy Brown, the owners of Anchor 3, worry about suddenly falling corn prices. They also wonder if feedlots and meatpacking plants will still be open soon when it's time to send off their yearling steers. They saw the recent temporary closure of a JBS meatpacking plant in Greeley, site of a major outbreak among the workers, as a warning signal, the latest on top of long-standing challenges, including a drought in eastern Colorado. The real problem is it was dry late last summer as well, said Tyson Brown, their 35-year-old son, inside the large family farm's cavernous machinery shop. We didn't get any help from nature reestablishing the grass, and so it was dry last fall. It's dry this spring, and well, commodities are in the tank. And now the threat of the virus. There's complexity in the coronavirus impact on agricultural markets, as the food industry already had weathered unstable commodity prices for years, especially during recent U.S. tariff battles. And the recent plunge in gas prices has lowered demand for ethanol, affecting corn prices. But the pandemic delivered a seismic jolt, analysts said, much like it has for the rest of the economy, in this case, farmers face new challenges in getting the food they produce to grocery stores, especially as the coronavirus has sickened workers who are the key to the industrial side of the industry. Quote, "We're real concerned about the packing plant thing, real concerned," said Don Brown, age 65, who served as state agricultural commissioner during former Governor John Hickenlooper's second term. And the JBS plant wasn't the first. Among other closures are plants operated in South Dakota and Missouri by Smithfield Foods, a pork producer that we reported on earlier this week, that also has hog farms near Yuma. Cargill has reduced shifts at its Fort Morgan meatpacking plant after COVID-19, the respiratory illness caused by the virus, hit the facility. But the more immediate effect has been on traditional supply lines. According to Colorado Bank, which tracks agricultural trends, grocery stores typically sell 48% of food nationally. Virtually overnight, that proportion shot to nearly 90% as state and local governments ended dine-in service at restaurants and hotels, and school cafeterias closed down. Food processors that serve those customers couldn't find new paths to consumers instantly. About half of lamb typically goes to restaurants, one factor in the sudden price drop cited by Theos. Some lamb and high-end beef ranchers in Colorado have shifted to direct orders to try to make up for the lost restaurant business. That is just the beginning of the uncertainty. We're all kind of not sure what's happening or where we're going or where things are going to go, said Taylor Sigalski, the Colorado Farm Bureau's Director of Policy Communications. Ag is open for business, but it's not quite business as usual. We have to take care of our livestock. We've got to get ready for planting. But how do we operate in this new world? Even as the public flocked to grocery stores, leading to temporary shortages of many products, some farmers, especially in warmer states with year-round growing seasons, have had to junk vegetables, eggs, and milk that their longtime bulk customers no longer needed. Some farmers, uncertain what to plant this year, worry the pandemic will usher in a long-winded crisis. The Browns recalled years of struggle in the 1980s when the last major U.S. farming crisis stretched on for years. Quote, "Sometimes you just should hunker down and ride it through," said Peggy Brown, age 63. Quote, "My husband and I, we did that through the 80s. Really, we're just going to be fine. It's just really, really hard on a lot of people." And DCTV will be interviewing some of our local farmers to get a feel for what they are facing on our local level. Much, of course, depends on the moisture and timing for planting, and at least we have been told the farmers will be getting a full ration of the water this year. And again, I can't stress enough that if you've fancied a home garden, you might want to start one in earnest this year to have locally grown produce for later this summer and a source of food for canning to get through the winter months. And the Journal had a follow-up story on the avalanche rescue of recent. A trio of backcountry skiers involved in an avalanche on March 31st near Rico were prepared for an emergency but also made questionable decisions before the slide that injured a man, according to a Colorado Avalanche Information Center final report. The slab avalanche was triggered by a skier on the north side of Telescope Mountain in sparse trees at 11,500 feet. It ran 650 feet, was 250 feet wide, and 31 to 36 inches deep at the crown. The skier was carried by the slide and suffered a broken femur after hitting a tree. He was not buried. A rescue effort was launched by the skier's two companions, Dolores County Search and Rescue, San Miguel County Search and Rescue, and Flight for Life. According to the CAIC report, the three backcountry skiers met on Colorado Highway 145 at McJunkin Creek, northeast of Rico. Two of the riders had toured in the area the day before. The three initially followed the previous day's track up McJunkin Creek before turning south and climbing to a flat bench at 10,850 feet. Their initial plan was to descend from this point. Because they were all unfamiliar with the McJunkin drainage, they decided to keep, quote, exploring and gain the ridge of Telescope Mountain. As they climbed toward a ridge, the slope steepened into sparse forest, and the group agreed to spread out, staying around 100 feet apart. About 11 a.m., the lead skier heard a large collapse in the snowpack and looked up to see the avalanche breaking 15 to 20 feet above him. He turned his skis down the fall line to move with the slab and maintained his balance for about 100 feet. A large crack in the snow surface opened in front of him, and while trying to jump over it, he fell. Quote, "He fought to stay on top of the moving snow and steer away from obstacles," according to the report. Quote, "When the avalanche stopped, skier one's upper leg was injured from hitting a tree, but he was not buried." The backcountry skiers described the avalanche as, quote, "large moving blocks of snow. Avalanche debris piled 10 to 12 feet deep The other two skiers were not caught in the avalanche and made contact on their two-way radios. They descended to their injured friend and moved him downhill of a large stand of trees. They bundled the injured skier in jackets and dug a platform and windbreak. One of his companions monitored and supported the injured skier's leg for the next 3 to 4 hours. The other one skied out and went to the Rico fire station to call 911 about 11:45 a.m. About the same time, the skier, who stayed with the injured man, made contact over his two-way radio with a separate group of backcountry tourers on top of Palmyra Peak, about 15 miles northeast near the town of Telluride. The second group notified the San Miguel County Sheriff's Office, and 10 to 15 members of the San Miguel County Search and Rescue Team were dispatched to assist Dolores County Search and Rescue. A Flight for Life helicopter shuttled rescuers to the ridgeline above the injured skier. They transported him to a meadow lower on the slope. The Fight for Life helicopter landed in the meadow and then flew him to Mercy Regional Medical Center in Durango. The three skiers were experienced backcountry skiers with formal avalanche training. They were aware of recent avalanche activity and carried avalanche rescue equipment. But misjudgments that day contributed to the avalanche, according to the report. Having the two-way radios was especially helpful. Quote, the three skiers could communicate immediately after the avalanche, allowing the injured skier's companions to, quote, slowly and safely move downslope, knowing he was not buried, the report said. Using the radio, the party was able to contact another group on Palmyra Peak who alerted authorities about the avalanche and injury. This was the third accident in late March in which two-way radios provided a valuable communication tool, CAIC officials said. The idea of, quote, exploring new areas drew the Telescope Mountain Group beyond their original plan, according to the report. It was only the first or second time that they had all skied the terrain. Quote, the group was wary of the more open slope they were traveling on, but chose to proceed spaced apart. The report states that one of the skiers had climbed through the trees to avoid the steep slope. The two skiers who were not caught in the slide were discussing the slope's steepness minutes before the avalanche, but the other skier was too far ahead to participate in the conversation and was caught in the slide. Quote, changing plans in the field without a thorough group discussion is a common contributing factor in many avalanche accidents, the CAIC report said. The report added that the accident occurred against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic. Quote, 20 search and rescue team members from multiple agencies were involved in this rescue. Other members were held on standby but not sent to the site to decrease the number of people potentially exposed to COVID-19. That's something to think about if you're going out in the backcountry. And today's High Canyon Country happenings. So today is Earth Day. Celebrate however you feel driven to do so. Of course, that does not mean gathering in physical contact with one another. How about a big virtual hug around the Earth, whatever shape that looks like to each one of us? As this is our current home, as they say, every day should be an appreciation of where we are and what we have. And here in Southwest Colorado, I see so many posts of gorgeous sunsets and beautiful mountainscapes or desert murals. And someone will no doubt comment that we are so thankful to be living in God's country. As they say, don't forget to smell the flowers. And speaking of virtual reality, internet online gatherings, if you are looking for a career change, coding and developing content seems to be a good direction to go in, especially relevant if you listen to what the media is suggesting. People in power are indicating lockdowns and restrictions in human interactions to prevent the potential of the spread of a deadly disease may be the norm for many months or years to come. Our perception of reality may be altered quite a bit and quite quickly. Video games and virtual headsets aren't all that funny or just for kids anymore as a way to interact with the world, quote, outside. I don't know, but you might want to think about it. And if you're interested in the alternative media research, go look up the patent that Microsoft has for the nano dot chip that I reported on about a month ago. It's WO 2020-060606. Cryptocurrency system using body activity data. And of course, the mark of the beast is what comes to everyone's mind with the number 666. Beyond that, the move towards a cashless society isn't just a conspiracy theory. Having a vaccine identification system or some bodily proof that you aren't going to spread a disease of one type or another to another coworker or the general public is now being considered in earnest as a way to allow the population to have social and physical distance, but some type of functional working proximity in a daily life. I did not yet develop the spot about the fire burning educational information, but that is still in the works. And now the Colorado State Statistical COVID-19 Data Update Roundup shows 10,447 cases, with 2,003 people hospitalized, still remaining in 56 of the 64 counties, with our Dolores County still at 0 cases. They're claiming testing on 48,704 people, and now up to 486 deaths that in one way or another are connected to or affiliated with the COVID-19 qualifications. And I post up all of these High Canyon country happenings on our Facebook page, which is, again, DCTV Daily News, where you can also watch the program replayed, along with the news links and stories of local interest. And you, too, can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. This is your local community TV station, so if you have something that you would like to share, contact us. The email is dcbnnews@gmail.com, or you can call the station at 970-677-4119. Thank you for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday, and replays are online on our YouTube channel or our DCTV Daily News on Facebook. If you like the program, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.